Hi everyone, so welcome to this series all about lunging. What is a lunge? What is a good lunge? How can you use it to good effect in squash? Super important aspect in the game of squash. Pretty much every time just before we hit the ball, we are in a lunge position, hence why as squash players have good strong legs. Right, but it is very important to understand the correct technique and how to get good alignment with your body, and particularly in your pelvis, for a successful lunge by encouraging the correct lunge position and alignment. You encourage the correct muscle groups to work, for instance, the glutes, the quads, and getting that nice balance in the body. This really helps limit injury. It helps you be more balanced on the ball, which can help you develop more skill, and therefore you waste less energy, you become more efficient, and so on. Just so you all have a little bit of an understanding, I have a Pilates background as well, and I've done multiple amounts of sports as a kid and into an adult, and I use all of the different learnings that I've picked up in my years and implement them into my training. And kind of the Pilates aspect is something which just teaches good postural alignment, which I then kind of implemented into the ways I teach squash. It actually happened because when I was younger, 18, 19, I had quite a bad knee injury for a long time, and it didn't quite make sense to me. And then I looked at the mechanics of movement and the biomechanics and how the body positions and performs the skills when under more stress or pressure, say for instance in a match experience, and it was invaluable to me. So now a lot of things that I'm telling you now will have a lot of crossovers. And put it this way, since then I've never had any issues with my knee ever again, okay? So please take care with this, implement it properly, and your squash careers and playing life will go on and on and on. Less of me talking about myself. So, lunging. What is a lunge? A lunge is basically a comfortable sized step with one foot in front of the other. And basically you're looking for your feet, your left foot, your right foot, to be hip width apart, so you don't want to have a narrow gait like this or stand too close, and you don't want to be too wide, okay? So firstly, I'm going to find that comfortable position. Now the second thing is that my front foot is nice and stable and relaxed in the floor, and you see the back foot here, the ball of my foot is stabilizing me with my heel off. Now I'm going to get you to really think about your hips and your pelvis, okay? The right hip and left hip should be level and aligned. There shouldn't be any kind of opening of the body or loss of control here. I like to teach, imagine the hips, two hips here, like the car headlights, okay? So they're always pointing the same way wherever you're positioning yourself. So when you're in this position here, you're now going to have a nice bend in the back knee, and you're basically going to drop your body straight down, so that your upper body is in line with your back leg. And this is an ideal practice to start with, just to see if you can release a bit of that tension in the hip. It's like a mini split squat. And you can have a go on the other side. Now, mobility in the hips is a must to be successful with lunging. You might feel a lot of stress in your back leg to start with. It's very common that hip flexors can get tight or the quads can get tight. Don't worry about that. Keep practicing this. Freedom of movement in the center of the body and the ability to just drop straight down in between the middle of your feet. Okay, this would be a great start to practicing getting a lot more looseness and feeling. Free feeling in the center of the body in this hip area. And then you can challenge your balance position a lot more with the lunge by doing some balance lunges, so you can challenge it a bit more. Stand on one foot, bring your knee up in the air like so. You're going to step forwards to a balanced position and then come back. So now you're using the right amount of power and momentum by pushing through the ball of the foot and your heel to activate that glute, and then find that stability. This could be level 2 for your progression. Do one more. You're going to do 5 to 10 on each side because we're looking for quality here. Obviously, the more you repeat the exercise, the more you're going to get stronger in those legs. Let's have a look at that side-on view. See how my head and shoulders are just staying up nice and straight. That's not because I'm fixing my back into a position. It's because I'm mobilized and stable in my pelvis area, in this powerhouse region. So I'm supporting myself successfully in that mid area. Whoop, a little bit wobbly there. It's because my front foot was not stable. Whee. Then you can start to do multi-direction. So start with a balanced position here. I like to discuss as like your hips guide you in the direction you're going to head to. Okay, so they're always pointing the way you're going to face. The only exception would be if you were to do a backwards lunge. So I'm now going to challenge myself by going into some different directions. Okay, now I'll go forwards, a bit of a pivot on that foot. Change to the other side. Step in. Could even take a little mini squat here on the side. Backwards lunge. Forwards lunge. It's important to make sure that you find that balance before you move again. Otherwise, you haven't actually stabilized successfully in the mid area of the body. Let's have a leg. So you could step to the side just for a mini squat. Obviously not quite as relevant in squash, but it's still very good to learn to control that mid area of the body. Okay? Now what you want to do is think a little bit about where is this neutral position. So if you're sticking your bum out like this and arching your back and working really hard here, this is basically anterior tilting. That's way too much, okay? Same going forwards. If you posterior tilt too much, then you're also going to lean back. So if you kind of into this position, and a very common one where you see is like this, okay? So you've got to find that middle center point where you're able to then drop straight down in that neutral position, okay? Now a great little exercise now to add on to with absolutely no weights at all, which will create a lot of strength, is you're going to start low down into a lunge position, and you take a sprinter's lunge like this, okay? Now you're coordinating your upper body with your lower body. So you're getting that rotational movement with the explosive power now from that nice and aligned position in the pelvic region. Switch sides, so now it's the opposite arm and leg. Left arm, right leg. You're coming straight up to that nice tall position, and you're initiating the force and power from the glutes, from this mid area, from the quads. Good. Now it's also important to practice with rotational movements as well. So what you can do is go into a walking lunge. I'm just going to get you to place your arms above your head. Step forwards, bring your arms out to the side. Now keep the mid area of your body stable. Move your head with your sternum and see if you can still keep that central point steady. You only need to go as far as you can keep control. Try not to lose that balance in the middle area. Same on the other side. Arms out the side. See how my head and my sternum rotate. Together. Back to the middle. And up. Okay, so these are some great exercises that you can do just to practice your balanced position. Repetition is really, really important. Don't worry if you feel certain muscle groups fighting and working too hard. By repeating and repeating, they will let go, and then it will be much, much easier to control, and you will feel much, much more relaxed in this very, very important mid area of the body, particularly when lunging. Just remember, if you're going to be having too momentum forwards over the ball of your foot, or you're leaning back, you're basically just encouraging different muscle groups to work. So by having the correct alignment and body position right, I can now activate my glutes here because my hips freely moving. This is loaded, the quads working to stabilize, and everything can work in as one complete system, all right? So I'm going to show you some other exercises in the next few videos where you can use a bit more equipment and add more strength to it. But that is the basics for the lunge technique. Cheers.